It's 9:15 p.m., and I'm here at the All Points Customer Service Center. There are folks here 14 hours a day until 10 p.m. Eastern Time to handle all your food service replacement part needs. Now it's 9:20 p.m., and I'm at one of the other parts places Customer Service Center, and everything's dark. Oh, except for the cleaning crew. For the best parts and service, turn to All Points, the food service parts advantage. Find them at allpointsfps.com.
One of the most exciting events in Western North Carolina is back as the Mountain State Fair rides again. The famous Midway returns along with all the games, exhibits, animals, and of course, the food. Discounted advance tickets are available at all Western North Carolina Ingalls locations and online at mountainfair.org. The fun starts September 10th. Come on down to the Mountain State Fair. We can't wait to ride again with you.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice.
What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday, September 8th. It's a little late, but we're here. For all of our new listeners, I am Gigi, and what do you know, Fruit Loop?
The weather is bad outside.
Yeah,
That's what I know right now.
If you guys hear any rumbling or anything, we're at least where I am, I think you're over it there, but we're having a little bit
lightning and stuff.
Yeah, so we're having a little bit of a storm. So if you hear any rumbling, it's from that. It's been the craziest day between the Murdaugh case and the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell case.
Yeah, you were telling me you were bouncing everywhere, all over the place.
I mean, it was like every 30 minutes something new came out mainly about the Murdaugh case. This is unraveling before our eyes. This is going to be a really good case to cover. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns, I think. But before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Two Cool T-Shirt Quilts. Go to twocooltshirtquilts.com/pretty lies and alibis. And they do blankets, pillows, T-shirt quilts, all kinds of stuff. Great quality stuff. We have some pictures on our social media, so check them out.
Yep. Awesome.
Very much.
So I want to say real quick, thanks everybody reaching out saying that they were praying for us and all with the loss of Terry. So we have our service in I think it's next weekend. So just thanks for that. She was the coolest lady.
Yeah.
Real cool lady. She actually laughed at our first episode because we talked about it one night at theater, and she's like, "You do a true crime podcast?" So she started on the first one, and it's really long. Like our first episode is like 2 hours, I think.
It was very long, but we were just watching as they were digging Chad's property up, and we just weren't going to stop because as soon as we did, we thought we would have news. Yeah. And we just thought we were so big and bad back in that closet with our 7 listeners. We thought we were going to break some news or something.
Yeah. And it was live. If you remember, it was live.
It was live. I remember one time I had to leave the room and I kind of was walking back quietly in and you were like, we're just waiting. Yeah. We're just waiting on something. Cause what do you talk about when you're by yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
it was crazy. But she laughed at it. She was like, oh my goodness, that first episode was really long. And but then she, caught up and listened to all the other ones. So she was just a real cool lady.
Very sweet to my kids, and they're very sad about it. And it's just unfortunate that COVID's taken another really good person. We know too many people and know a couple right now on the ventilator. It's just very scary stuff. So everybody stay safe.
We walked in. It's been probably 2 weeks since we were at the theater. And I walked in and I lost it because it was just like time stopped.
Yeah.
Because nothing has been there. Like the set's still set up. Mm-hmm. Backstage is like everything. It just looks like I was describing to one of our ladies today. It was like Titanic, at the bottom of the Titanic where everything was just, they found it how it just sank and laid.
Yeah.
That's how I described it. I was like, it just looks like a ghost town. Like time just stopped.
Yeah, no, it's, I'm sure it's very weird to go back in there because the last time we were all there, it was a very happy night because the performance was amazing. And Terry was so worried she wouldn't remember her lines. She nailed it. So just, everybody's been really sweet. And we want to give a big thank you to Heather. She sent the both of us some get well cards. If you're
Thank you,
new,
Heather.
Fruit Loop got over COVID, then I got it a few days later, still dealing with the headaches. But thank you, Heather. That was really, really sweet.
Yeah. Thank you, Heather.
So today marks 2 years since Tylee was last seen alive at Yellowstone. I looked at the date and I thought, why is that date familiar? And I knew it had to be
Yeah, it
something with
doesn't
this
seem
case.
like that.
Oh, man. I mean, because you had never done true crime. I had
Yep.
done it for several years as a job and took a few years off just to be with my kids. And this case, the Vallow-Daybell case, is what got me back into it. And so I told you, hey, read up on this case. It's very interesting. We talked about starting a podcast for several months. And then in June of last year, when they started digging on the property, we started. And but yeah, 2 years today. So tomorrow would be the day that 2 years that she was murdered.
Yep.
And nothing's going fast with this, guys. We called it, we said it, but
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like we say in the intro, the long road to justice. That is as true as it gets.
Oh, most definitely. So there was some stuff out right today. Lori, Colby, and Tylee were extras on Modern Family.
Yeah. So Colby put this out on his YouTube last night. And so I clicked on it and watched. And sure enough, you can see Colby, Lori, and Tylee walk kind of past the cast. They were doing an on location shoot at Disneyland. And so Colby was telling his stories from the set and kind of how it was to him. But I'm going to tell you, I've been an extra on several things, and she broke the cardinal rule of extras. Number 1, don't look at the camera, and don't ever look at the camera and smile. She did both. I put screenshots up on our social media. So what's interesting is I know the creator of Modern Family's wife. Her name is Arlene Sorkin. So I've sent them a text to ask them if they have heard this today.
Yeah.
Curious to see what they say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we had some filings by Pryor.
Yeah, a motion to sever and a response from Lindsay Blake about extension of time to file motions and for them to be heard. Lindsay says as long as the trial isn't happening in November, since Chad waived his right to a speedy trial, the state doesn't object to extending the time.
Well, now we know that the trial for November was canceled. There's a lot of things that needs to happen before that trial. And as you know, Chad just recently waived his right to a speedy trial. So the state doesn't object. At this point, we know that Pryor is going to file a motion to dismiss at some point. The grand jury transcripts aren't available. So, and then you're going to have this motion to sever the cases.
Yeah.
And then
October, right?
October 5th and 6th is the change of venue hearing. Sorry, guys, we're still very much getting over COVID, and so
got a tickle.
we're both our coughs are like dueling banjos.
I know, right?
Like I go, you go. Sorry, guys.
Okay, I just want to say, he still looks like Carl Spackler sitting there.
I know, right?
Caddyshack, Bill Murray and Caddyshack. That's who he still looks like.
Him and Pryor both look like statues. I was just the only way I knew my screen wasn't frozen is I saw them blink.
Yeah, I'm like, why is he even there?
Yeah,
like, why is he on there?
I think he just wants to be present, to be involved, or to look involved in his defense. So the status conference for Lori was today, and as expected, they extended her commitment for 180 days. So now that puts us into March before she's deemed competent. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they said if they get a progress report before then where they say that she's competent, they would have a hearing and get the ball rolling. If you remember, she still has to have her first appearance in her arraignment.
Yeah. Yeah, because she hasn't done any of that. I just want to know what's going on. Like that's where my mind goes. Did Chad flip? Does she know he flipped? Is that why she flipped?
I mean, look, it's really clear after watching the 48 hours with his kids, and then again this motion to sever, that they're not going to be united. We said it way back when they got arrested. There's no way they're going to be this united front through trial in prison for the rest of their life.
Yeah. I mean, from what the kids say, they're talking framed and all this stuff. So we said that screams, I'm flipping. So I wonder if she's heard that.
I think it's probably a combination of things. I think she would never imagine that Chad would flip on her, number
Yep.
one. I really thought it would be the other way around. I really
Yeah.
thought Lori would flip because that's what she's always done to her husbands when she's finished with them, throws them under the bus and tries to come out as clean as she can. But I also think back to when we were doing our Glimpse at Life series back when we had time to fill in, we don't now. The lady that we know or that I know that's in prison for life said that you get to that point to where when you're in jail and you've been in there a hot minute, reality sets in that you're never probably going to walk out of those doors free. And a lot of people will break down, attempt suicide, that kind of thing, because all of a sudden the light bulb goes off that you're not going to have this happy ending like you see on TV shows and movies.
Yeah.
You're going to be in. Who knows? It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. But yeah, so 180 days, guys, March of next year. I think
So
she'll
the
take it
judge,
all.
oh yeah, yeah. So the judge also extended time to hear motions for Chad since the November trial is off schedule now.
Right. That's going to be the change of venue, the motion to sever. God knows what else they'll have a hearing for. Now, there was something that was put on the website just today that I saw, but it was actually filed on July 26th. This was prior objecting to the use of fingerprints, but asking that the samples be saved. So that goes to tell you they've got his fingerprints somewhere his lawyer doesn't want the jury to hear about.
Yep. Hey, before we forget, Means was in the hotel room
For sure.
on this. Yeah. I looked and
Yeah.
I was like, he's in the hotel room.
Yeah. Well, we know
Yeah.
he was at the jail today. When our person that lives locally, every day he's there, sends us a message and says he's there today. So I guess maybe since his office is 4.5 hours away, he probably just, gets a hotel room locally. It's either that or the car.
You need to buy him a camper. He needs a camper.
I know, right? He
Get him
could
an
just
RV.
pull it into the jail parking lot like Uncle Eddie.
Yeah, he'd be like Robin Williams. Yeah. With a big RV.
All right. So we're going to hop into this Murdaugh stuff because it is just crazy. I mean, so many things came out today that we kind of thought. So let's get into it.
So Alec has been suspended from practicing law by the South Carolina Supreme Court, which we knew that was coming.
Oh yeah.
Somebody was on. It may be in here. I don't think I saw it, but somebody was on Today's Show today, right?
I don't know if anybody was on the Today Show. I briefly, they were reporting on it. I think they had like a talking head on there who was just talking.
Head?
That's what I call people that are a talking head,
No, you know where I just went with that? You remember that MTV guy? What was his name?
Max Headroom?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the order said that Alec was suspended under Rule 17B of the South Carolina Appellate Court rules, which says upon receipt of sufficient evidence demonstrating that a lawyer poses a substantial threat of serious harm to the public or the administration of justice, the Supreme Court may place the lawyer on suspension pending a final determination in any proceeding under these rules. So we thought that was coming. Now, his brother Randy issued a statement today. What did that say?
So he said, I was shocked just as the rest of my PMPED family, that's the law firm, to learn of my brother Alex's drug addiction and stealing of money. I love my law firm family and also love Alex as my brother. While I will support him in his recovery, I do not support, condone, or excuse his conduct in stealing by manipulating his most trusted relationships. I will continue to pursue my client's interest with the highest degree of honesty and integrity, as I always have.
Yeah, so I was wondering if he was going to put a statement out, especially after Saturday and everything that's come after, because it's not looking good for old Alec.
Well, how embarrassing is that? I mean, his great-grandfather started this law firm, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think 80 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This has been, I'm going to say this, I think their days of ruling the Low Country are over.
Yeah.
This is going to be the subject of a ton of documentaries, and Netflix is going to need 5 seasons to cover this. And I'm just blown away, but I don't think we have seen the start of what's going to come out about this family.
Yeah. And all these suspensions are standard procedure. when anything happens like that with an attorney, especially when they're accused of taking funds, right?
Right. Any kind of misconduct,
Yeah.
they'll temporarily suspend until I guess there's an investigation done. But yesterday, before the suspension, they had said that he was forbidden from volunteering with the solicitor's office, which I mean, well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this next thing, I was like, this is stupid. So the knife used to slash his tire has been recovered, and it is believed to belong to him.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Moron. Hey, Scott can have him on for the dumbest criminal of the day or whatever.
There you go. We'll tell Scott Reich.
Scott Reich. Yeah, go ahead.
His headline story is also his dumb criminal of the day. Yeah. I'm curious to find out about the gun, because we don't know for sure that he was. Well, they said he was shot, but what do you do with the gun? I mean, do you just throw it in the woods? Clearly, maybe he did that with
them, like combing through the woods, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, this dude did not think this out at all. And I'll tell you, I watched the first 48. They can go into crime scenes, and when an explanation is given to them, they'll be there 5 minutes and say, that's not how this happened. There's no way. Remember, we talked on the last episode about the evidence markers, how I said there's no way somebody in a car was hanging out the window shooting with where I assume to be bullet casings are.
Yeah. There's so many little things though that you can do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I watched a thing where it's like a tube. You could shoot a gun out of a tube. Like shoot a bullet, like out of I don't know, they make them or whatever. I don't know.
Are you talking about when they're trying to see if the markings on the bullet line up, they'll shoot it down into water or something?
Well, no, I'm saying like you can have a gun that doesn't look like a gun.
Oh.
And it shoots a bullet out. So
he probably shot himself with a BB gun.
I know, right? Yeah. Grazed his, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, SLED still really hasn't said anything about this alleged attempted murder on Saturday. But as we said last time, SLED seems to be suspicious of his story, and with good reason if they found the knife that was used to slash his tire. That's the thing about run flats. We literally said that car has run flats. You can go 50 miles, up to 50 miles an hour to go get your car seen. Now, it doesn't work if your tire is slashed, but how did he get on that road? Is he going to say like the knife fell out of my car and then I ran over it? I mean, he's on a back road. How did a knife slash? There's no way you could drive that far if your tire had been slashed.
Yeah. No.
So it's all coming. I mean, this alibi is running flat.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But
exactly. So the Moselle property, or you said that it's only 7 miles away.
Right. And that's the thing is you don't have a spare tire with run flats. And apparently this is what FitzNews said SLED very early on. They started piecing together this was fishy because with the run flats, you can go a certain distance to get the tire fixed. But also he was only 7 miles away from his house. And I did the Google Maps and it was 7.8 miles away from the nearest gas station. So none of it made sense. And clearly it didn't make sense to SLED even when they were there.
No.
On scene.
I wonder what other evidence they found at the scene.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Right. Because
they had a lot of markers out there.
They did. And then there were some pictures of them off in the brush combing through everything. I just wondered, did they find bullets? And also, my big question, if they were suspicious on scene, I really wonder, did they swab his hands for gunshot residue at the hospital?
I hope so.
I do too.
But we know they didn't with Lori and Alex and them.
No, they just kind of trusted that. But we don't know what they have found thus far. So it could be that Alex is on their radar for other things. And we said on the last episode, until law enforcement names him as a suspect, we're not going to go there in the double murders. Yeah. But we don't know what they have. So this could have been the push they needed maybe to really crack this case open. And I think at some point they're going to have to make a statement. Yeah.
I wonder, and some of our police people who sometimes listen to our podcast, is there like protocol for testing for gunshot residue?
I think you have to have a warrant.
Because you think about it, they didn't test Lori or anybody when Charles was shot.
Nope.
I mean, obviously, Alex would have had some on him because he, shot, or he says he shot him.
Right.
But so I
Yeah.
wonder if there's a protocol.
I don't know.
So that'd be
So-
interesting to know.
Here's what's crazy. Fitz News was told that the total Alex may have taken from the law firm could be as high as 8 figures.
Sheesh, what are they doing with all that money?
When we're covering cases, we go on people's social media and see what's public. It looks like they entertained a lot of people at that hunting property. There were a lot of there was a picture of them on a private jet. There were pictures of them going to NCAA tournaments. It's kind of one of those things you wonder, did he live so far beyond his means that he had to use the law firm? Because this is nothing that happened, I don't think, since June. This has probably been going on for a few years.
Wow.
Yeah, you slowly take money. And so, but they definitely had money, I guess. But, then again, it looks to me deceiving. Why is he taking potentially tens of millions of dollars if he's that well off?
Yeah. There's a bunch of speculation.
There's a lot of things. And he was an addict. And we don't know, where is he getting his stuff? Sometimes if you have money and power, you find a physician that will write them freely for you. Or is he going to the random dude that supplies that whole town with OxyContin?
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't know, but I'm curious. Is he paying hush money to somebody? That's
what I was going to say.
Yeah, you can speculate all day long.
Yep. As much as was going on down there,
yeah,
it could be.
No telling. So the law partners went to the scene of the crime on Saturday. I mean, they walked up and said, "Hey, he's stealing money from this law firm." So
they weren't playing.
Dude, they went up. They didn't release a statement that day. We hope he's okay. In fact, they got in their car and said, he's stealing money. And at that point, all they knew, he was airlifted. But then again, if the story is he called 911, which I want to hear that call. And then he called his brother. So maybe the law partners knew, because he is part of that law firm. So I'm sure they probably knew at that point. If they knew it was a graze situation, it sounded hokey, they might have said, we're just going to go public with this right now, because this is about to get ugly.
So it'd be like one of those, one of the shows I watch, when you got the little rookie cop guarding the line. Somebody walks up to him and says, I know something,
Right.
Yeah. He's stealing money.
Yeah. Well, listen, here's the thing. Just with that alone, he could be facing a lot of time in prison for that embezzlement.
Yeah, look at the amount.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Although I did look at some cases in South Carolina, and it looked like people that were stealing that amount, some of them got less than 10 years. But then again, now he's going to have this whole beast of Saturday filing, if he did this to himself. I mean, that's a crime when you try to frame some non-existent couple of guys in a truck. I mean, so I think, the walls are closing in on him really quickly, which is why I think, he's in rehab right now. So,
yeah. So wasn't there some other stuff about Maggie hired a forensic accountant?
She did. So this was reported by Crime Online, and they said that Maggie had hired a forensic accountant shortly before her death. And that just screams to me, maybe she was going to divorce Alec, because that's what rich people do when they're about to get a divorce, is they need a forensic accountant. I'm sure she probably knew he had drug issues, and she may have even known about, we don't know if she knew about him stealing money. A lot of times the wives don't know.
Yeah.
So we may never know. She could have confided in somebody. I really feel so bad for her and Paul and her family. I know Paul's a different issue, but you think about Maggie. Everything I've read about her was that she was just such a nice woman, and you got to think about her family, her parents, her siblings, her friends. This has got to be just, it seems to me like maybe she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the stresses of what was happening in their marriage. You've got a rumored possible mistress. She probably knew about the addiction, the money laundering. I mean, and then you've got this whole issue with Paul. He was facing prison.
Yep.
So I'm sure all that breaks down a marriage if it's not super, super strong, and probably would break down even the strongest marriage with that kind of stress.
Well, you think? I mean, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then you kind of get into that whole psychology of it. I mean, everybody in that area, for the most part, knew that Paul was a little bit of a problem. But man, it's kind of like, is he a product of his environment? He was a young man. He was very young. A lot of times,
Yeah.
kids that are catered to and never told no just don't understand consequence, and they don't foresee that something really terrible can happen when you drink and get super drunk and drive a boat.
Yeah.
Part of that's being invincible as a young person. You don't think you're going to die or cause somebody to die when you're young. So I was just thinking about all that today. Now that a lot of this stuff has come out about Alex, it makes you wonder, I mean, but then again, you say he was a young man. He was 19, 20 years old. He knew right from wrong. But
Yeah.
then again, when you're not disciplined as a kid, or you're not put on a path where you're learned to be responsible and accountable for your actions, these kind of things happen, unfortunately. And Mallory was the first one associated with all this to lose her life.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm just curious too, going back to the double murders, it's been said that he has an alibi. He had been to the hospital to see his father, and then he checked on his mother. I'm curious about the timeline with the 911 call to see what time did he leave that hospital? What time, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure they've got surveillance from gas stations and anywhere on the route that he would take to get home. There's just so much that's going to come out about this case, and I'm here for it.
Yep. I totally agree.
So that's all we have for today. Lots of stuff going on. We'll keep you updated on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. So follow us all across the board. Tell a friend if you know they're interested in these cases to give us a listen. And we try to keep it honest and try to keep it factual. And we speculate a little bit, but not to the point to where, it's damaging to anybody. So, but we just want to thank you guys. We have a ton of new listeners and followers. So welcome to you guys.
Yeah, my phone it's like blowing up all day.
I've had to cut my alerts off because every minute, literally, there's a comment, there's a message, and we love it. And we literally try to answer all of them that we can. I've let YouTube slip a little bit just because I've been so active.
Been on there some.
Yeah. So, but we appreciate you guys. If you want a sticker, I'm going to be sending those out probably tomorrow. Code word is Sherlock, who, by the way, is at my door meowing. And we'll send us your address with the code word Sherlock, and we'll send you one in the mail. They're free. And so anybody who's requested one, probably in the last 3 weeks, we're sending those out tomorrow. But we just want to say how much we appreciate all you guys.
Yep.
We really do. So we will be back later on in the week, and maybe sooner if something big happens.
Sounds good.
Have a good night.
The Aiken Chamber of Commerce presents the 45th Annual Aiken's Macon Arts and Crafts Show. Come stroll beautiful historic downtown Aiken for this amazing 2-day event, Friday, September 10th, 9 till 6, and Saturday, 9 till 5. Support local and regional artists as they present their art and creative handiwork. Food vendors will be on hand, so you can stroll all day long around the safe, open parkways. Aiken's Macon, September 10th and 11th in downtown Aiken. For more information, visit aikenchamber.net.
I've got 2 juicy burgers here. One cooked with OEM replacement parts, the other with Maverick parts from All Points. Let's compare. Yeah, that's good. Burger 2. Wow, that one is just as good. I can't tell a difference at all. Just like you won't be able to tell the difference between OEM and Maverick parts. Available only from All Points at allpointsfps.com. Now I've got a couple of burgers to finish.